morning and welcome to the U.S. News and Entertainment Network. I'm Alex Foe.
And I'm Lauren Sims.
First up is the frigid weather moving across the U.S. For more on that, let's go to Lauren Sims.
Thank you, Alex. Historic North American winter storm. A massive storm system that began around January 23rd caused widespread heavy snow and ice, causing thousands of flight cancellations, power outages, and dozens of confirmed deaths across large swaths of the U.S. and parts of Canada. More than 1 million people lost power, thousands of flights were canceled, and tragically, dozens of lives were lost as bitter cold gripped much of the country. Now we move to the federal government funding fight and shutdown risk. The U.S. federal government entered a partial shutdown at midnight on January 31st. Lawmakers had negotiated a stopgap deal for the Department of Homeland Security, but timing issues left parts of the government unfunded. Winter storms and a government shutdown dominated the news, but there was good news for some sports fans.
That's right, Lauren. Let's go to our own Will Playton for the NFL News of the Week.
Thanks, Alex. In a snow-soaked AFC Championship game in Denver, the New England Patriots emerged victorious, egging the Broncos 10-7 to punch their ticket to Super Bowl 60. The Broncos finished 14-3, earning the AFC's top seat this season. They fought valiantly despite losing Bo Nix to injury. Backup Jarrett Stidham started and kept Denver competitive early with a touchdown drive. But the Patriots' defense delivered under blizzard-like conditions, holding Denver to 7 points as Drake May supplied the game's only touchdown on a 6-yard run, sealing the Patriots' win, meaning New England returns to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2019, setting up a showdown for Super Bowl 60 at Levi's Stadium. For more sports coverage, go where I do for in-depth review and game picks.
This is the Chain Gang Sports Show. All sports, all the time. Smart picks, real analysis, no fluff. Produced by the Flagler Voice Podcast Studio. Let's now go to Chuck Newsom with the Florida East Central Lifestyle Magazine for an update on local happenings. I'm your host, Chuck Newsom, and we're here to put a spotlight on the incredible citizens, volunteers, and businesses and events that are shaping our beautiful coastal community. Every week, we bring you stories from New Smyrna Beach to Flagler County and everywhere in between. We'll be right back after this important message.
Easy now, partner. I'm here to help. We'll get through this. Good Guys Firearm Accessories, your go-to source for real protection without lethal force. Byrna launchers are game changers. CO2 powered, firing 68 caliber projectiles, launching up to 60 feet with non-lethal impact or chemical irritants to stop threats safely and instantly. Compacts like the CL for everyday carry, plus holsters, extra CO2 mags, all legal nationwide. Shop the best selection with expert advice from Mike at Good Guys Firearm Accessories. You looking at me, kid?
We're looking at one of the headlines that went largely unnoticed. In a little-noticed rescue off Flagler Beach, local firefighters sprang into action before dawn last weekend. A small sailboat carrying 2 adults and a child ran aground on a sandbar just offshore and began listing in rough water. A Flagler Beach firefighter swam out, stabilized the vessel, and guided the family safely back to shore. No one was injured, but officials say the incident is a reminder to check conditions before heading out on the water. Let's head to Flagler County with Chrissy with a special report about a church being forced to stop having services.
In Flagler Beach, a local congregation briefly found itself locked out of worship. A judge ordered Coastal Family Church to halt services over a property dispute at Flagler Square, siding with mall management over zoning language. Parishioners were turned away for a Sunday, a move critics call heavy-handed and a threat to religious freedom. Within days, an appeals court stepped in, allowing the church to reopen while the case continues. For now, faith and fellowship are back in session along Florida's coast. We will follow this story as it unfolds. I'm Chrissy Maraggio, and back to you, Chuck.
Thanks, Chrissy. Let's take a moment for a word from one of our great sponsors, Allen Lowe, LLC. Now let's check in with our local events correspondent, Orla Soul, on the streets of New Smyrna Beach.
I'm Orla, so I'll be your local in the field event correspondent, and that's just a fancy way of saying I have the fun job. Sunshine, smiles, and a splash of color took over New Smyrna Beach this weekend as the Images Arts Festival turned Riverside Drive into one giant outdoor art party. We had painters, potters, photographers, and crafters of all sorts along the streets. An eclectic and quirky array of creations. It was a wonderful sight as families wandered, kids laughed, and tasty treats were available as food trucks kept everyone happily fueled. With all this creativity around, NSB proves that art here isn't just something you stroll by, it's something you experience. This was a weekend to remember along the coast.
Thank you, Ola. That looks like it was a great event. That does it this week. So back to the national desk with Alex and Lauren.
Thank you, Chuck. This about wraps up our news and entertainment week in review. So be kind to each other, everyone, and Lauren and I will see you next week right here on the U.S. News and Entertainment Network.